We don't record it now.
Able to do. We have done quite a few of them. As you can see, it's in front of you. A special mention, a beautiful month, an auspicious month of January for Brahmins. We did on accuracy, introspection, and concentration, and followed by the month of love, which I always keep telling about. It's the February month. We were fortunate to do it on love, and then many other values. And today we are there on detachment. So again, thank you once again for all of you all for being on this beautiful journey, and we get good feedbacks that we are enjoying these workshops. So with this, let me just stop sharing, and now I would also invite all the facilitators, or maybe all of you can even, including me, open your video camera so that we can wave to each other. And we are very fortunate Dr. Ashok Mehta is also with us. And so we have facilitators from all over the world now this time. So we have Anu sister from the west coast of Canada, Shruti sister from the west coast of US. We have Pooja sister and Reena sister from India, and all of you beautiful participants. So with this, all of you know that we have Sister Aruna with us today. So I'm being very time bound because she'll be joining us by 10 o'clock India time. So I'll just move on to the exercises and over to Anu's sister for the first exercise. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj brother. Welcome everyone. Good morning. And I'm sure you all are feeling the silence. And silence is the foundation for this practicing detachment. So the very first activity, the warm-up activity today we will do is practicing the detachment through a spiritual drill, for which the process will take is being bodiless. As we all know, we are more than bodies. We are experiencing beings. We think, we decide, we experience, we command our body to do actions. So we'll hold on to that state of mind that I am a being, and in the silence, and we'll play for you today the spiritual drill that at Brahma Kumaris we understand that all the spiritual teachings are coming from the divine, the supreme soul, and as spirits or spiritual beings in the silence, we take on those teachings. And the effort as spiritual students at Brahma Kumaris, we try to bring it to our practical life, take the spiritual teachings, guidance, and apply it in our life practically. So today, mostly whoever are here are connected with Brahma Kumaris, but if there are any that you don't know, the way we learn at Brahma Kumaris, I wanted to mention that. So today we'll give a glimpse of that to all of you. Let's see how it goes for you. So it will be about 6 minutes of video. In the silence, being an experiencing being, listen to the spiritual guidelines, and there will be music and silence to feel, internalize that message, and then let's see how you feel at the end of the video. So let's start it now.
कंसिडर करेंगे। अभी अभी एक सेकंड में आत्म अभिमानी
Oh, that was from the beloved God, the Father, the Supreme Soul, and the highest spiritual directions for all of us, the beloved spiritual children. I hope you all enjoyed. Anyone wants to share anything? Or if you want to hold on to the silence and move on, that's good. I hope that is the good start and we can move on to the first exercise.
Okay, I'll start sharing. So as we hold on to this silence and that feeling of detachment, let's switch, let's move forward and start to really take this to the next level and start to reflect on what are some of the attachments that we experience in our lives. I encourage you to think in terms of 4 R's, and if you could reflect and write down, and we will give you some time to write down as well, but if you could have a pen and paper with you, and as you think about the attachments in your life, and we move beyond the body, think about, first of all, what relationships what are some of the relationships in your life that pull you, that manifest in some form of attachment or another. It could be you think of yourself as a parent, as a spouse, as a child. What are some of the relationships that typically make you feel like you are attached or pull you in their direction? The second R is the roles that you play. So, am I a doctor? Am I a director? Am I a manager? Am I an academician? What kind of a professional am I? And what are some of the roles that I associate myself with? The third one is what kind of facilities or responsibilities do I feel particularly attached to? So, for an example, I'm particularly attached to my cell phone or my smartphone because it allows me to get a lot of my, electricity bill or like a lot of my daily responsibilities done. It becomes this one little device that lets me do so many things during my day and keeps me organized. So, what are some of these other other facilities or other items in my life that, even though I think they are helping me, should they come out of my life, I would feel terribly I would feel terribly uncomfortable or feel terribly lost without some of these facilities. And the fourth thing is, what are some of the resources that I particularly um, feel like I own them, that this is what I possess. It's my car, it's my house. What is it that I feel particularly attached towards? So it's pretty straightforward. As Manoj Bhai said, we'll keep the time in front of us. So we'll take about like 3 to 4 minutes at the most to write down and reflect on some of these roles and these R's or attachment, the 4 R's of attachments for you to write down on your paper. And I'll play a little bit of music to help us reflect on this, and then we will follow it up with some sharings and some discussion. So with that, let me just play a little bit of music. So I think it's a pretty straightforward, and I think most of us had done writing from what I could see on the cameras. So maybe we switch into some sharing. So if you would like to talk, if you would like to share and explore some of your attachments with all of us, if you could raise your hands either on your camera or on the chat box, that would be wonderful. Or if you want to write down uh, on the chat box, that would be wonderful as well. So I see Vijay Bhai, you've raised your hand. Om Shanti Vijay Bhai, can you unmute yourself? Yes.
Yes. Om Shanti.
Shanti.
Please accept my greetings of love, peace, and happiness on a wonderful session of detachment. The relationships with people, we are all brothers. We have a connection of soul to soul. Roles to play in professional life. I am a consultant to give guidance, work as a mentor to reach the destination of all my colleagues with happiness throughout the journey, and then observe and experience happiness at the end of the journey when we complete our task.
Perfect.
Responsibilities and facilities used as a father, as a husband, as a brother, soul to soul connection with a heroic part in this drama. Whatever I do, whatever I think, whatever I speak should be the heroic role, the best role one I can play, better than what I do before or did before. And also the what I possess, responsibilities, what I possess, I am a trustee, I own nothing, nothing belongs to me. I work as a trustee and work with the guidance of my Baba, my God, my Ishwar, my Parampita Paramatma, and just work as a trustee to do exactly as Shrimat says. Om Shanti, God bless.
Thank you, Vijay Bhai. You've got us started. Just one thing, when we think about responsibilities and facilities, I think it'll really help us if we can start listing down some of the resources that we start to feel very dependent on. There are ones that we possess and we feel really possessive about it, my home, my car, but then there are others that I feel very dependent on. So I have a few more comments there. Dr. Jyoti Sehgal, Jyoti Ben says, R with people is as a mother, and as she feels attachment with family members. And R as a professional, she says, not attached to profession anymore. I play the role as a totally detached person. So certainly as a professional, I think Pooja Ben, if we can write, just, she used to at least feel that with her profession. She also adds that with facility use, not really attached, this pandemic has taught me to be more independent in my routine work. So true. We've all learned to work with very different or very limited resources, certainly. Resources I possess, no attachment to anything, very nice. Sister Shama is saying, family members on relationships, and resources are phones and iPad. And in possession, she says maybe her car. And I see, I'll give Pooja Ben just one more second to catch up. And then Jagar Bhai, if you want to unmute. I see your raised hand. Shanti, if you want to speak.
I'm just putting the ideas out there. I had for attachment for professional, I put like status. Also for family, I put like attachment, thinking that they're always there.
So family and status.
The family is there, like they won't go anywhere, so I'm kind of attached to that.
Yeah. Very
also,
true.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye. Mukta's sister has also written in the chat box. So Pujaben, she says, are with people, she says, attached to various roles in the family as a wife, a mother, a daughter. And as a professional, she feels certain attachment to her role as a manager. In terms of resources, she says she's attached to her home, nothing on the facility side. Thank you, Muktaban. Then we have also Aruna Kurana. Aruna Ben says she feels the attachment in terms of people to, again, family, parents, and siblings. I think we've got some of that in our box. As a professional, she feels herself as being associated as a doctor, healer, and a counselor. In terms of responsibilities and facilities, she's talking about home, work, and phone. I think all of us seem to have gotten too hooked onto our smartphones. And then in terms of the resources, car and home. Sister Shella is saying children as relationships. Yeah, again, family. Murli Bhai has a different one, Puja Ben. He's talking about friends. Yes, that's also becomes a very important relationship. Interestingly, I'm sorry, I don't have the name over here. It just says Galaxy. We would appreciate if you could put down your name there. I just say Galaxy S9 Plus, and then I see a telephone number there. And this, this Bhai or Ben says attachment to belief systems and sanskars. And Mahesh Patane, this brother says about being attached to family, children, and friends. Anybody else? I don't see any more raised hands. It does cover, we do cover a large gamut of the different roles we play in our worlds. And certainly, as you can see, there are many, we get pulled into different directions, and it's the subtleties that we are exploring in today's sessions. We have one more comment here from Dr. Mehta. Ashok Bhai says, to not have strong attachments to any of the 4 R's. He considered himself a bit abnormal. No, I think that's where we're all striving to be. Okay. With that, let's move to the next portion of today's workshop as we start to unentangle or start to kind of get through some of these attachments and learn how we can simplify some of these attachments. And with that, I'll pass it on to the next facilitator.
Thank you so much, Shruti Ben. We will move on to our next exercise. It is a visualization exercise, and now we all have explored in abundance about attachment, and we know what all our attachments are. I think we were not aware of these attachments, that it has a long list, but now we are aware that we have a long list and we need to be detached from that. So this exercise is a visualization exercise about a detached observer. So you all will be visualizing that how can we be a detached observer. So I would be taking all of you through a guided commentary with a relaxing music. So all of you please sit straight, be a little aware, alert and aware. Make your physical body comfortable. Now, making your body comfortable, take deep breathing. Inhale and exhale. Become aware of your breathing in this physical body. Breathing is a very important aspect. So I am an observer of my breathing. Observe yourself inhaling, holding, and exhaling. Now, as an observer, in front of your mental screen, bring all those attachments I have and just observe it for a while. Again, bring all the 4R in front of your eyes. I have attachment to human beings, to resources, to responsibilities. And now, out of all these attachments, encircle one attachment which is bothering me right now. And I want to be detached from this attachment. In front of my mental screen, I have this long list and I have encircled one attachment. Observe it for a while and slowly, I'm playing the role of a spectator for this attachment. This attachment is separate, encircled, and I am away from it. I am a detached observer right now. Go inside and say to yourself that I am calm, I am composed, I am at peace. Experience this calmness and stillness for a while. With this awareness and being an observer that this is my attachment and I'm slowly coming away from it. This is such a unique feeling that I'm observing my own attachment today. It feels so still to observe my attachment. I'm a detached observer right now. Keep on experiencing this stillness, this calmness. And now, steer into a new direction. Say to yourself, what can I do to make myself free from this attachment? What is this attachment making me and affecting me? It must be affecting my personality, but I am a liberated being. I am a free being. I am a flying angel who is away from all the attachments voluntarily. This list in front of me is not holding me back. I choose myself today to be a liberated human being. With my own choice and with my own will, I am making myself free from this attachment. I'm experiencing this happiness right now, this lightness right now, like a flying angel who is just flying into the deeper space, into the infinite source of light. I am flying into the infinite source of happiness and peace. I am a flying angel away from all the attachments, completely liberated, completely light, and steering towards to my home where the almighty authority is there and waiting for me. The almighty is embracing myself. I am so secure, so free, and so detached in his companionship. I am a flying angel. And now I can make everyone detached around me. I have this power. Now become aware of your body and again become aware of your breathing. Just observe your breathing. I am an angel who is observing my breathing of my body. My breathing is so slow and deep. See yourself, experience yourself, still a liberated and a flying angel who is using this costume, my body. I'm so detached and so light, and I have the power to make everyone liberated around me. I am an angel, a detached observer. Now become aware of your body. If your eyes are closed, open your eyes. Thank you so much. So, this is how we can do the visualization. And this visualization can help us be detached from all our attachments. This visualization had many steps. First is to identify the attachment which is bothering me, to visualize that attachment, and to be little away from that attachment, and then experiencing my inner calm, my stillness inside, and then with choice, making myself liberated. So, with this beautiful thought, we will wind up this exercise that I am a flying angel. I am a flying angel. Say this to your mind again. I am a flying angel. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, Sister Reena. You wanted to take something else? You were saying something?
No,
Reena, sister? No. Okay,
I
thanks.
think we should just end the visualization here. Everyone is experiencing the silence.
True. So thank
We
you
can
so
move
much and
ahead.
beautiful. And yeah, it's like beautiful. This music also adds to that because many people have mentioned about the background beautiful music. So we'll be sharing it with you. We'll be sending it in the email. So no worries. And it was wonderful. Like sometimes people ask me this question. Therefore, I'll just share it because we have a couple of minutes. They ask me, how do we get detached? आप लोग बोलते तो हो ब्रह्म कुमारीज में detach हो जाओ and all that. So how do we get detached? So I think the simple trick which is there in the Murlis also mentioned is, as Sister Reena was also saying, we can experience this flying stage when we create this thought that everything is so temporary and perishable. If you apply this temporary and perishable to all the hours, it will be definitely very easy for you. So if I look at my role as say I'm the child of my parents, sometime or the other my parents will be leaving the body and even I have to leave the body. So why am I attached? Second is I'm a profession wise, I specialize in kidney problems. Jyoti's sister specializes as a neurologist. She very rightly said that she's totally detached from that. When I retire at 75 years or something, I'm not in that role anymore. So I have to be detached right now. It's easy to practice it right now, being in that role. Same applies to mobile phones, cars, everything. And I'm so happy, Dr. Ashok Mehta. I would want to ask him to share a few thoughts in a couple of minutes about why he feels that is abnormal. Because he mentioned that he's totally detached. So please, Dr. Mehta.
I used to feel that this is prior to knowing the depth of philosophy. I used to feel that everyone has so much of a feeling, and why don't I have that kind of attachment? And I thought that this was something not normal to me. I mean, not normal for individuals. But I never shared with anybody. The first time I'm sharing because I felt that I think so many things come in your sanskars. This was probably one of the sanskars of many, many birds. I did not know. Now I'm thinking the other way, that whether this is what has the soul has come with some of those qualities. This is how I feel. I never, so for example, I resigned both as a director and a trustee of the Global Hospital about 6 months back. Uh, I in other words, that position was not, I have not operated the last 14 months, except for a few times. And I don't feel that I missed something. Well, I enjoy operating, but still, one can get detached. For as far as fees are concerned, most of the time I never tell anybody about the fees. I always tell my nurse that please put whatever you feel that should be done. So some of the things I think uh, they are probably the old sanskars of the soul.
Beautiful. I think these are the few tips which, as practitioners, we should be taking. Like, absolutely not being into money. What is the thing coming? What is going out? And there are many things I must not be saying because Dr. Mehta may not like that. It's something very personal, but he's into the Brahma Kumaris also. He's done a lot of charity in many ways. Let's not go in that. But thank you so much. It was a beautiful sharing. And I think Jyoti Behan will just take a quick sharing from you because you have raised your hand. Yeah, Jyoti sister, go ahead. You have to unmute yourself. I hope you can unmute. Okay. I just asked you to unmute. Okay. Yeah.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti, I just have one observation. When we have a detachment with a non-living thing, then we can do all possible. If I'm attached to a laptop or a mobile, I know and I can use my knowledge of Murli and get detached. But when we have an attachment with the other side, also human being, and that human being doesn't have the knowledge which I have, how do we practice detachment? In that case, suppose I'm attached to my daughter. So how do we do that? Attachment with the living and a non-living, does that differ?
I mean, in these workshops, we are really not advised to give any advice that way. But the thing is, it's very easy to get detached from non-living things, as you rightly said. But practicing detachment from living things is an art, and we need to practice that. The more and more we do meditation, I think it starts happening. So it's a process. It will take some time. I think Dr. Mehta wants to add something. Yeah.
I can share with you. I have a daughter whom I love, tremendously. Uh, but she is in Mumbai, but sometimes I don't see her for 4 weeks. I don't talk to her for 2 weeks. But when we meet, of course, there's always a hug and a loving kiss. I have a granddaughter who also, at the moment, she is in US. Sometimes we talk once a week. Sometimes I don't talk to her even maybe for a longer time. So I think you love people, but that doesn't mean that you're attached to them. That feeling, strong feeling of attachment is not there.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Mehta, and thank you, Jyoti Ben, for inciting this. Yeah, slightly late, but that's fine as far as people are able to interact and come out with their questions. So I'll just share the screen and we'll go further in the mode of this detachment. You'll have practiced this beautifully with Reena's sister being a detached observer. Let's move on to what Asha Didi had to say. I'm sure all of you attended this talk last weekend on detachment. Asha Didi is an embodiment of a detached personality. And I remember so clearly she mentioned two things when she started the talk on that day. She said that recently two things have happened with me and which have tested my detachment. First is her Lokik brother had left the body a couple of days ago. So she said, this is my test of detachment and I'm past in that she felt. And second is one of the surrendered sisters, a very senior surrendered sister at ORC. She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and Sister Asha was quite dependent on her for quite a few things. But she said, I'm fine, I'm totally detached. So these were the few things which she started with. I'm sure you remember. Then she mentioned that there are two attitudes as far as detachment goes. One is to be totally engrossed in the world and just enjoy, come what may. And second is to be totally detached and have a distaste for the world. What we call in Hindi, sometimes we say in the Murlis it is mentioned, Baba says in Hindi, Behad ki Vairag Vritti, and in English it's translated as attitude of disinterest or distaste. So there are two such attitudes, and this is like either a Vairagi sannyasi or other one which we say are completely bhogi, fully engrossed in the world. But Didi mentioned that the balance of both is to be learned. We have to really learn this art of how to live in balance. Because sometimes when we practice detachment, people feel we are very cold and insensitive, we are very dry, we don't enjoy life. It's not about that at all. Then you can see this beautiful figure here of Alexander. Didi gave his example that Alexander, when his last wish was that whenever his coffin is moved around, it should be with all the hands outside, both the hands outside, and people should see that I have done so many cruel acts. And he mentions there, it's mentioned, burn my body and don't build any monument in my name, but keep my hands outside so that the people know the one who has won the world had nothing in hand when he died. Because so this is something which I was referring to, that everything for us in this life is perishable as far as matter goes outside, and also temporary. Once we understand these two concepts of temporary and perishable things, then it becomes easy to practice detachment. She also mentions that keep yourself free from the influence of others. This way in Hindi, Murlis, it's mentioned about prabhav and lagav and chukav. Because if you want to keep your personality intact, if you don't want to be influenced from others, you need to practice this. And also, she warned us that if there is any selfish interest, this can apply to us also in service. We are in the alokik field now more than the lokik, but if there's any swarth inside, if there's any selfish motive, I'm doing some seva, but in the name of something inside that I need to check for myself, then I can't remain detached. And it will be difficult for me to practice detachment. Then she gave us beautiful 4 examples of detachment in the roles, how these people play. First is a nurse. She's always detached while caring. And she said that parents must practice this quality of detachment. So I think all the parents who have kids, start behaving like a nurse for your child. Second is a bank cashier who knows that all the money He's really counting all those notes and putting it in the lockers there in the bank, but he knows it's not his money. So he is accountable and responsible for that money to make sure everything is in place, but he's totally detached from that money. So we need to learn that from the cashier. Actors, beautiful, the entire Bollywood, Hollywood, whichever industry you want to speak about is full of them. They perform beautiful roles and we are so attached to their roles. We start getting emotional when we watch their films and videos, but they themselves do not identify. So even here in Brahma Kumaris, it's a beautiful saying which Baba teaches us. I'm taking the liberty to speak Baba because all of us call him Pyar Se Baba. So he says, all of you are on the actors of this world stage, and this is a drama going on, and all of you are just playing your roles. So just don't be so attached to your role as well. And the beautiful thing is birds. Pooja sister has prepared these PPTs, and you can see those beautiful birds. You know, birds take the flight from one tree to the other. And if a bird funnily says, "Oh my God, mujhe chudao is branch se, let me off or let me be detached from this branch," that bird can't do it unless he or she, the bird, whatever gender it is, leaves that branch. So he has to let go of the branch. So once we start letting go of things, then we start becoming detached. So beautiful thing to learn from birds. Quite a few things also Didi mentioned, that the more you are detached and let go, the more and more new people or more opportunities will come in life. Let me share this example. She mentioned that at ORC, a lot of sisters and brothers, particularly sisters, they have a lot of other things to look at, how to take new experiences and how to give new experiences to people and have innovative methods of doing seva. So someone sometimes copies them and they feel, oh, they are copying us and they are using our things. So Asha Didi said, I tell them it's okay. You have that innovation inside you, you have that creativity, you can do something else. Let the other person use that. What is the big deal? It is for seva. So again, this again burns down to that swart, the selfish interest. When I totally surrender myself for any service, even in the Lokik field for that matter, let people copy me and let them use whatever I have. For example, I have my PowerPoint slides. It is all for sharing. Let them use it. Let me not be attached to those slides which I have prepared. Oh, I feel it's my property. No, so let people use it. Do not hold on. That's another thing. And Didi mentioned detachment is a very good leadership quality. She mentioned here about two lessons which are taught here in the daily Murli classes which we hear. A beautiful word is trustee. So all those roles, responsibilities which we saw, the relationships which exist and the resources, let us all take care of them being a trustee. Apnapan nahi, mamatva nahi. It is all there for me to use, but I am total trustee. And second is, be involved. Don't be cold and insensitive, but have a detached. Sometimes people say this word detached attachment, or I must say detached involvement. And again, she mentioned, as Gita also mentions, that remind yourself that nothing, absolutely nothing belongs to you, including this big body also, which we look at in the mirror and identify ourselves with daily. When that doesn't belong to me because I am not this body. And then she said the easiest way to practice detachment is by connecting yourself with the Supreme, which we have been doing since yesterday. Today also we started with a beautiful drill from Bab Dada teaching us how to be bodiless. And also Reena sister took it into this visualization, which was actually the action planning mode, what we call in our workshops. And the last exercise, usually it helps us in identifying how to do things so that I can practice that at my workplace and even my personal life. So she mentions that once you start connecting with the Supreme, these two important things, the two important powers develop. Nirnay karne ki shakti and parakhne ki. Parakhna is first. I can discern, I can decide what is right for me, what is not. And second, then I can make a judgment, which means I can make a decision. So parakhna and nirnay karna, because I can do only these when I connect with the Supreme. And once I do that, then I'm totally in control of my thoughts. And then I can easily apply a full stop, which Reena Ben was trying to show you. We call this SOS approach in our visualization techniques. SOS is a nice acronym, you know, save our souls, it's SOS. But when we know that the mind is going very fast and attachment is again a fast state of mind, I need to use the first S, that is stop. And a full stop can only be applied once I'm connected with the Supreme. The O stands for becoming detached and observing, observer. And the next S, as Reena's sister told you, was steering, give it a new direction. Then she said, our emotions need to be taken care of like a doctor. She said, beautiful. I loved that because I could identify with that. So she said, though the doctor takes care of all the patients, he's kind, loving, compassionate, but makes sure that he is totally detached, because by the end of the day, he doesn't want to be a patient looking at all the grief and suffering to the entire day. And Didi also mentioned about this. I will not read every slide. I have a few more minutes left. So she mentioned about how to have this God consciousness in our life. And we have many techniques at Brahma Kumaris. We have this regular traffic control, which is taught to us right from day one at specific intervals of the day. This record of 3 minutes goes, and we immediately stop doing what we are doing. We get detached totally from that activity, go in this soul consciousness mode first, and then get connected to God. So that's a good way to practice. And again, the last thing she also mentioned, this is another beautiful shlok from Bhagavad Gita. I'll just say the translation, that one who acts without attachment has those dedicating actions which are similar to a Brahman. So a Brahman, this is talked about a Lokik Brahman, but a Brahman is a person who really has no attachments. He's fully dedicated and not tarnished by any sin, which means he's not influenced by any path, and he's like a lotus leaf. So I think this actually equally applies to us who are also now what we call at Brahma Kumaris, we are Alokik Brahmins. I'll take a few questions. Someone asked that when we are detached, people feel we are cold and insensitive and we are cut off, and how to have this not caring attitude. So she said that mother is loving, but when she has to teach a child, she has to become a teacher. And obviously, when it becomes a teacher, she can practice detachment easily. But teacher doesn't mean chhadi lagana. Teacher also means you're loving and caring, but at the same time detached. Because this is this beautiful balance which we have to have of love and law, which reminds me of Dadi Prakashmani, and Asha Didi also mentioned it in her talk later. Other question someone asked is, can I practice detachment without being spiritual? It is possible, but it needs a lot of willpower and strength. So I think it's best that we don't really use all sort of lose so much of strength by not being spiritual. So best is we gather more strength by becoming more spiritual, and then practicing detachment becomes very easy. A last question I'll take. How do people living with families practice detachment? It is easier for sisters in the Brahma Kumari centers. So Didi said she didn't like this actually, because she said, don't think that the sisters living in the ashrams don't face any challenges. They have their own challenges, the own set of sanskars, which the sisters, one sister is from an educated background, maybe coming from the US management background. One sister is coming from a totally uneducated background, maybe from a village. But these two sisters have to match their sanskars with each other. And also clashes can happen there. So she said it is same for both, whether you are staying in the center, in the ashram, or whether you're staying at home. So all of us have to make an effort to practice this detachment. I think I'll stop here. And I'm sure Aruna's sister has joined with us. And I'll just briefly introduce Aruna's sister. I'm sure all of you know Sister Aruna Ladwa, who is from Kuwait. But let me just, Anu sister, has she, yeah, thank you Aruna sister. Thank you. I'll just briefly introduce you first. Is that okay? Yeah. So, and I'll say a few things about Aruna's sister because she's been doing a lot of work and she is a regular blogger. But let me just go in the official, I must say, which I had actually prepared, but it doesn't go as prepared. You know, Aruna's sister has been in the knowledge since almost last 37 years. And she has been practicing Raj Yoga meditation. And she is this accomplished spiritual author of quite a few books. You can just find out online. I'll share it once I finish. I'll share her website as well. And you know, the good thing about all these British Indians, I must say, is they have this blend of two cultures. She was born in Kenya, a very Eastern that way at heart, but educated in England, worked in Canada and many other parts of the world. And she has this, this, it's time to meditate. I'll just show it shortly. But what I would like to say from the Brahmakumari's point of view, she has been instrumental in developing these different centers. Obviously, it's Baba is using her, but I must say the Vancouver, Canada branch she was one of the persons to be instrumental. Istanbul, Turkey, Manama, Bahrain, and now currently she's in Kuwait since quite a few years. She has been a certified negotiator in conflict resolution. So any problems, please feel free to approach her. And also, along with It's Time to Meditate, she's got 8 books, just to mention a few. All of them start with It's Time. So it's time for relationships, it's time for change, and so on and so forth. And very important, just to mention that she's been successfully running this blog of It's Time, and she's received in November 2014. I have to say this, the award the award is Women of Excellence Award from the Yoga Federation of India for her tremendous contribution to social work. And let me just quickly share the screen and show you this It's Time to Meditate, because I think all of you can take benefit of this. I'll just go up. You can see this is the website. It's Time. It's about everything, your soul journey and personal development. So it's all about Baba's knowledge served in a very different way, in the way people like it. So all of you are welcome to use that and be a part of that. And I would say thank immensely Sister Aruna, because she's very busy with many other talks, and it's early morning, not early morning, but it's around 7:30 for her now. It clashes with the Murli times all the time for the speakers coming from this part of the world, but she was very kind to give us this time. And with all this, Aruna sister, over to you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Manoj Bhai and the Values team for having me. I'm very happy to be here today. So perhaps we can just begin with a moment of silence, since you've been hearing a lot. So let's just hold 1 minute of silence, and in this minute, I just want you to completely become relaxed and ready for the next meal or next breakfast. Om Shanti. So yeah, what are we doing when we sit for a moment of silence like this, or when we sit in meditation? What we're actually doing is we are detaching ourselves from everything that's happening around us. And we're trying to look inside, we're trying to feel our inner world. And maybe if there is a little bit of instability, some turbulence, we're trying to calm that down. We're trying to observe our thoughts. Why am I thinking like this? What's going on? So if you were to practice this throughout the day a few times, just imagine how smoothly your day would go. Because we don't practice this ebb and flow in the day, that's why we get engrossed and affected by what's happening out there. Because we're not giving importance to what's going on inside. We think what's going on outside is more important. And so what do? We start to fix what's going on outside, when what we really need to do is fix what's going on inside. So really just take this, as Didi also had mentioned, the traffic control. It's checking the traffic of your thoughts, the traffic of your mind. And when there is a traffic jam, what do you have to do? You just have to sit still. There's no way you can go when there is a traffic jam, except wait and watch. And so really, if you find yourself in a very difficult situation, don't take any rash decision. Just sit with yourself, be quiet, breathe deeply, and you'll see the answers will begin to come. So I noticed that Didi had talked about many of the obvious points of detachment. So those of you who haven't seen that seminar, please do so. Asha Didi's seminar. So I'm trying to add to what she's already mentioned. So a few things that came to mind is that, for example, when we do action, how much are we truly detached from the result of that action? The fact that we are attached to that fruit means that we will actually damage that fruit. There is that expression, right? The watched pot doesn't cook faster. So when you keep looking at the pot and expecting it to cook faster, does it do so? No. So what do you have to do? You have to just put on the pot and then you have to let go. You have to step away. You have to not step away for too long, otherwise it will get burnt. But you have to just step aside, step away. In the same way, you plant a seed and you don't stand there, right? You don't stand there and see, okay, is it growing? Has it come up yet? How long is it going to take? No, it's going to take its time. What do you have to do? You just have to plant the seed, and then every day you have to water that seed. So in the same way with us, we plant good seeds, but then we really have to detach. We have to let go. If I'm holding on to wanting the result and wanting the result quickly, then I'm not going to get excited, right? When it does come, or when it's time to come. So why don't we just do the good deeds and throw them into the ocean of oblivion, and then just see from where the goodness comes. If we really let go and detach, then we are happier for it. If I'm helping an old lady to cross the road, and then I expect to be in her will because I did this little good deed, what have I done to that good deed? I have destroyed it. Because when we give, when we do, we don't want anything back. This is why we have karma philosophy. It's to start with this premise that whatever I do, I will get back. So don't worry. That's why we can do and then we can detach. Because I don't have to sit there accounting all my good deeds. It's not my job to do that. The drama of life is keeping a good record of everything that I'm doing and with what detachment I'm doing it. You know, there's this story of this king. So he felt, okay, today I feel like going and giving a bag of coins to somebody and to make their day. And so the king went out, and as he's on his horse and he's got his people with him, he saw this man sitting under a tree. So he thought, okay, he's a good candidate. He got off his horse and he went to the man, and in his mind, he thought, oh, he looks poor. He could use this money. But he didn't realize that this was a wise man. So anyway, he gave the wise man this bag of coins, and he said, this is for you. And the wise man grabbed the bag and ran. As he ran, the king ran after him and his men ran after him. And they lost him because the man knew the streets and they lost him. Finally, the king thought, where can I find him? Let's go back to that same spot where we left him. And lo and behold, he was there sitting with the bag of coins. And the king said, "Aha, we found you." And so the wise man replied, "Did you really give it up? Did you really let go of the bag of coins? Because if we do, then it doesn't matter, right? What the next person does to it. If we really give something to somebody, it's up to them now what they do with it. But no, we want to know. We want to hold on to the result of the action. In fact, there's another story, right, of Arjun and Karan. And so Arjun asked Krishna, why is Karan always remembered as the one who gives? I also give to everyone. I'm also generous. And Krishna said, okay, come to me tomorrow. And so Arjun came to Krishna. He said, okay, over there is a mine of gold, and I want you to take that gold and distribute it to everyone. And Arjun said, fine. So he went, he got the gold, and he called everyone, and he's giving the gold. And after a day or so, he said, well, I'm very tired. I've done enough. I've given enough. Krishna said, okay. Next day, he said, we will call Karan. Let's see what he does. So Karan came and he said, Karan, there's a mine of gold there. I want you to distribute it to all. So Karan called all the people, the townspeople, and he said, over there is the mine of gold. Take whatever you want. And Karan walked away. And Krishna said, this is the difference. Karan doesn't want any name or fame for what he's doing. And you want name and fame for what you are doing. So this is a good thing really about the Brahma Kumaris, that when you donate, it's a very incognito donation. We don't have anybody's name up anywhere. Even many of you are doctors, as you know, hospitals are built, but we don't really put anybody's name up on a board with how much they donated, because it's meant to be given privately, secretly, in the name of God, not in the name of public opinion. Even in the Bible, it says that your left hand shouldn't know what your right hand has just done. So this is a big aspect of detachment. When we do the good deed, can we really step away from the result of that good deed? And again, it's a very strange philosophy, because when we really step away, and I'm sure you've had this experience, when you really don't want something, that's when it comes to you, doesn't it? The moment you let go of wanting it, there's something about the air, there's something about the law of attraction, that when I really let go, then the universe says, okay, he is now or she is now ready to receive this. So when we were discussing this topic yesterday in our Dharana class, and I asked them, okay, what are the different words that are synonymous with detachment? And so some of the words were, of course, freedom, carefree, appreciation, respect. In fact, actually, if you think about it, it's many words, because once somebody is detached, as we say, they are loving. When somebody is detached, they can be patient. When somebody is detached, they're actually non-judgmental, right? So really, this one quality gives birth to many other qualities. So that's why sometimes when we don't know what to do or what to practice, practice non-attachment. This is a Chinese, Taoist, one of the Taoist principles, which is Wu Wei, yeah, WUWEI, which is actually the law of not forcing, which is non-attachment. So think about it. When we are attached, what are we doing? We are imposing our opinion. We're imposing our ideas. And when we do that, again, we are putting pressure on the drama of life, whereas the drama of life should just be flowing. Like the example I can give you is the boat should actually be sailing, not rowing. We shouldn't have to row the boat. If we are a good sailor, we know how to navigate the wind and we can just sail and enjoy. They also say that if you know how the tree, if you know the grain of the tree, how it's growing, and you cut with the same grain, the same direction, then you can cut the wood easily. But if you don't understand this, then you're laboring all day and it's taking double the time. So my point is that really everything in nature is meant to go quite naturally. In our life, it's meant to go quite naturally. And that is by not getting attached. So what are some of these practical examples? So a practical example is, okay, if you're waiting for the bus, if you're waiting for a taxi, just wait. Really, if you wait patiently, it will come faster. But if you're there standing thinking, why isn't it coming? Look at the bus system, terrible traffic, whatever, taxi drivers. If you're having these negative thoughts, it doesn't speed up. The thing is that it's your energy. Your energy is attracting these things towards you. So if you are constantly focused on what is not working, you're just giving more attention to that which is not working. So of course you prove yourself right because you say, see, I knew it's not going to work and it didn't. But how about trying the other way, which is let us try to be detached in that moment and allowing the flow. Even another example is like when you're waiting in the queue and there's like 10 people ahead of you. Honestly, my experience many times, whether I was waiting at immigration or other queues, they'll open another counter. And if you're alert and you're aware and you're in the moment, you'll notice the other counter being open and you'll head to that counter and they'll take you first. But if you're jumping and screaming in that moment, you miss the moment, you miss what's going on. And then of course you're frustrated. And who wants to help a frustrated person? Nobody. So this is another point really, that detachment means to really go with the flow. Allow things to happen naturally. See, when I mentioned about you watering the seed, you're just watering the seed. You're not checking up on it, right? You're not telling the seed, okay, grow faster. No. What is our duty? Our duty is to do our bit. And then our duty is to let go. Even in Kuwait or the Middle East, they have a very nice expression, which is you tie the camel and then you leave it to God. Yeah, you don't say, oh, God will take care of my camel. No, first you have to tie the camel somewhere. You do your bit and then you allow God to do his bit. So when I'm allowing God to do his bit, then what am I doing? I'm stepping away. I'm letting go. And let me say here that it's also not just letting go of the, okay, let me explain what I mean. See, sometimes people, let's say, for example, there's a school teacher and she has her son studying in school. And then she announces, see, my son was truant and I'm going to punish him. I'll punish him equally like I would punish any other child. Okay? So in front of the assembly, she tells her son off, see, you shouldn't be doing this. And she's trying to look fair. Okay, so she's not attached to her son, but she's attached to her sense of justice, her sense of discipline, right? She's attached to some value system. So it's not this attachment, but it's something else. So this is what I mean about we have to be careful that we think we are holier than thou by not being something, but then we might be attached to something else that we're not, aware of. So detachment is, quite a slippery business. So we cannot judge that this one is detached or this one is not attached. We just don't know who's attached to what. I just have to know that I have to work on detaching myself from everything, which includes my ideas, my value system, my sense of judgment, everything. Of course, people, of course, this body. On this path of Raj Yoga, we are taught every day to detach from the body, detach from the body. Okay, this brings me to the next point. Why should we detach? We need to detach because we want to keep our peace and happiness. Right? Even in the Gita, it says, like, we all know, forget the Gita, but we all know from experience that when we get attached, then we suffer. Whether you get attached to your children, whether you get attached to your lover or beloved, whether you get attached to your dog, we even get attached to comfort. We even get attached to ease of life. Say you have some maids and helpers, and we get so easily attached. And then the moment it's not there, we suffer. And so we need to literally practice detachment every day, which means it's there, but it's not there. It's there for me to use, and I appreciate it when it's there, but when it's not there, I shouldn't have extra thoughts. It's the extra thoughts that cause me the sorrow and suffering. And it's this feeling of emptiness that creates that sorrow and suffering. I think you must all know this, right? Because it's a story from India. The way that you catch monkeys. How do you catch monkeys? So how they catch monkeys is you put some nuts in a bottle and the monkey goes to get the nuts, right? The monkey goes into the jar to get the nuts. And he's got this whole big grip of nuts. But then he tries to take his hand out. Can he? No. And so he's going around with this bottle. He wants to be free, but he's not willing to let it go until he lets go. And so isn't this our case? We're holding on to that branch and then we're saying, oh, I can't fly. So on the one hand, we're saying, I want to be free, but then I'm the one that's not letting go. And so what is the jar? What does the jar represent for you? What does the nuts represent for you? What is it that you are holding on to? Just take a check. Today is Sunday for you, right? It's a working day for us, but it's a holiday for you. So take a check today, make a journal. What are the things that I'm holding on to that is not allowing me to experience the freedom Because think about the monkey. The monkey wants to jump from branch to branch, but how can he do that with this big jar in his hand? And so it's the same with us. We have all this luggage with us, the burden of luggage, of attachments, and yet we're not able to fly. And then we wonder why we're not able to fly. So this non-attachment it's there because this is what we are practicing, really. The Brahma Kumari's lifestyle is that, you know, you're in the world, but you are free of the world. In other words, it doesn't have a clasp over you. You're in the world, but you're not a slave to the world. You're the master of it. As soon as I give away my power, what's happening? As soon as I give away my power, I lose my sense of self. I lose my identity. And when I lose my identity, I'm lost. That's why we say I'm lost. I'm confused. I have no sense of direction. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I'm heading. And then we start our search, right? So wouldn't you say that Corona has made all of us so detached? Yeah, but it's made us detached by force. That's why we don't like it. When something is imposed on us, that's why we don't like it. But if we had chosen to separate or not see each other by will, then we would be okay. So yeah, that's what I'm underlining, that we are free spirits and we don't like to be forced. I'd like to share a few stories now about Brahma Baba, the founder of the Brahma Kumaris, and for you to see how he practiced detachment. So Brahma Baba, as you might know, was a jewel merchant, and he actually specialized in diamonds, good quality, high quality diamonds. And he was working with many kings of his time. So he wasn't just dealing in little jewelry and rings and earrings for the general public. He was mostly dealing with royalty and making huge things for them, like shields and swords and crowns, and whatever ornaments or whatever they wanted to bestow as a gift to another state or whatever. Now you can imagine he's dealing with all these diamonds and he has a few children who are naughty. And so he lived in Calcutta, opposite that market, what is it? Hog Market. And so his accommodation was on the top and the, जैसे हम कहते हैं गद्दी, उसकी गद्दी was on the first floor. So the children would just come down into the shop and they would come down and they would just take whatever, some box of diamonds, and they would just sprinkle it. They think it's like Smarties. And they just throw the diamonds. Now imagine if this happened to you. Imagine you had this precious box of diamonds and your kids came and they just flung them across the room. How would you react? And Brahma Baba very calmly, he said, children, okay, it's time to go home. He didn't reprimand them at all. And we heard this firsthand from Dadi Nirmal Shanta, who's the daughter of Brahma Baba. She's passed away, but we heard it from her own mouth. And so just imagine how detached he was. Just imagine. He understood, what did he understand? He understood that my peace, my sanity, my love for them was far more important than these diamonds. And look at us, what do? When something like that happens, we get right into the situation, right? We throw ourselves into that situation and we start, as I said earlier, starting to fix it and fix them. Why did you come? What are you doing? You shouldn't have done that. But it was, the way he responded was good for him and good for them. Because what did they learn? What did they learn as they were growing up? They learned how we can respond to life. So if somebody does this to me, this is how I'm supposed to respond as well, in a very loving but detached way. There's another story of Brahma Baba too, and this is told by Shiv Kumar Bhai, and he said that he was doing the gardening in up there, Pandoban, Mount Abu, and he was good. I mean, he did a good job of planting everything, all the flowers and everything. The fruits were growing nicely. And then one day again, the monkeys, they came and they rampaged the garden and they stole some fruit, and he was quite upset. And so he went to Brahma Baba and he told Brahma Baba, he said, Brahma Baba, look, this is what's happened today. And Brahma Baba laughed, and Brahma Baba said, but child, where are the monkeys going to get their fruit from? Are they going to go to the bazaar to buy their fruit? And again, he just lightened him. So it's true. Where do the monkeys get their food from? Okay, agree. We don't like the way they did it. But what can we do, right? Why should we lose our peace just because a few monkeys wanted to live? And then there's the story also of Vishwa Kishore Dada. So he was terminally ill and he was in Mumbai. And so Baba knew that he's not got long to live. And so all night he was sending him light and might. We call it Sakash in our language. So in his meditation, Brahma Baba from Mount Abu was sending light and might to Dada Vishwakishore. And the next morning he left his body. And then everybody asked, okay, should we bring the body to Mount Abu? And Brahma Baba said, what's the point? He's gone. So on the one hand, you can see he did all he could from his side, but then he let go and he said, okay, over. Same thing with Mama. Mama, one of our senior dadis. So actually she was going to Mumbai for an operation. And Baba asked her, Bachchi, are you okay? And she said, yes, Baba, I'm just going to the tailor to have this costume sewn. So imagine, again, her attitude. Imagine her attitude towards her sickness. So we can learn from this, right? I'll tell you one more story. I love this story. Maybe you've heard me say it before, but I think it's very valuable. And it's a similar story of somebody who was milking the cows. So there's Pandav Bhavan, and then down a little, like a few meters down, there's some greenery, and the cows were kept there from the back gate. Those who know Pandav Bhavan, from the back gate. So this brother was milking the cows, and every morning he would bring up two buckets of milk for breakfast and tea. And for some reason that day he slipped, because as I said, it was a little slope, and he slipped, and all the milk went rolling down that hill. again, he came to Baba and said, Baba, I'm so sorry. Now we don't have any milk for breakfast or for tea. And Baba again laughed, and Baba said, Mama, look, there are rivers of milk flowing in our backyard. And also Baba said, child, even aeroplanes fall from the sky. This is nothing. So again, you can see how Baba just relieved him. Imagine if you shouted at a person like that. Would they want to do that job again? No. But again, Baba made it so light, and Baba said, it's okay, child. Everything will be okay. And so that child agreed to do it. And of course, from our history, we know there's so many stories, right? There's the famous story of King Janak. Why was King Janak so famous? Because he was so detached from his kingdom. He used his kingdom as a trustee. I know that Asha Didi talked about being a trustee, but being a trustee means, yeah, nothing is yours. So even though for King Janak, he was not a trustee in a board somewhere, he had everything. This was his kingdom. But somebody came to ask him actually, how do you run your kingdom? How comes you're so successful? So he said, okay, take this diva with you, go tour around my whole kingdom, and then come back and tell me what you saw. But on one shart, yeah, one condition, that this diva should not blow out. He said, okay. So he took this little diva, went around the kingdom, came back after a few hours, and the king asked him, what did you see? He said, well, sir, I didn't see anything. He said, why not? He said, because you asked me to focus on this, and so my whole attention was on that. You told me it shouldn't blow out, so my whole attention was on trying to keep this light alight. And the king said, that's my secret. I live in this world, I live in this kingdom, but my whole attention is in ensuring that my inner light doesn't blow out. So this is what I'm saying. If my whole attention is out there, how can I focus on keeping my inner light lit? What does it mean to have your light lit? It means to stay happy, to stay enthusiastic, to always feel like giving, to feel motivated, to be loving, to always have the inner peace. This is what it means to have your light lit. But if I lose this attention and I go over there and have a look, then in any moment this light can blow out. And when this light blows out, that's when I lose it. We literally say I lost it, right? Which means what? I lost my peace. And it's not just peace. People have lost kingdoms. People have been imprisoned in life because they lost it in that moment. So yeah, we really have to start with the small stuff. Start with the small detachments. Another point I had is, what happens after you've detached certain parts? So let's say, for example, you cut a branch from the tree. Can you put it back again? Will it ever be the same again? Say you cut your arm for some reason. Will it ever be the same again? No. Right? So what we want to learn from this moral is, once we detach, really our life will never be the same again. Once we taste the beauty of detachment, our life will never be the same again. And there's a story of Buddha, right? So a man, well, there were many disciples, and Buddha asked everyone, who is detached? And this man raised his hand and he said, I'm detached, I'm detached. So Buddha said, fine, okay. Buddha said, there's this village over there. I'd like you to go there for a day and then come back. And we'll see how detached you are. And he said, okay. So he started walking to this village. It took him a few hours, but as he was walking, he didn't have much to drink. He was hungry. Then he finally came to this house. So he knocked on the door, and there was like a mother lady. So she said, yes, come in. And then he had this thought, it would be nice to have something to drink. And so the mother brought him this water. Then he thought, oh, it would be nice to have something to eat. So again, she brought him some food. Then he thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I could just have a rest? He's just thinking all this, yeah? And as he's thinking it, she comes up with the reply. So he thought, oh, there's something strange here. Every time I have a thought, she's thinking the same thing. Then he starts thinking she's very nice. And he starts to get attached to her because she's being so nice and, generous and giving comfort. And to that she replies, and this is just in his thought. And so to that she replies, you see, this beauty is just physical beauty. Don't get attached to this body. And then he realizes, wow, like she knows everything that's going on in my mind. Then when he heads back, he tells Buddha the whole story. And Buddha says, see, are you now detached? And he says, no. So yeah, sometimes we think nobody knows what's going on in our mind, but our mind, our face, our whole being is the index of our mind. And so we shouldn't think that nobody knows. This vibration of attachment, which we can say also is greed, is obvious. When you want to hoard things, hold on to things, this is a false sense of security. You're holding on to it thinking, this is going to serve me. But it actually becomes your own trap. You're putting yourself in a cage. So it's false sense of security. We call it Maya, right? In English, we say Maya is illusion, that which it is not. So it gives the false pretense that I will give you comfort and I will give you protection and I will give you everything, but ultimately it's a trap. And so really the only way forward is a sense of detachment. So I'm going to stop here and I'm happy to take any questions or whatever you'd like me to do.
Thank you so much. We would just want you to go on and on with so many beautiful stories. You make everything so simple. That's your specialty, and it was wonderful listening to you. So if anyone has a few questions, we could take a couple of them and then go in the meditation mode with Didi. And should I do one thing? I'll do the announcements for the future, and then we'll go in the meditation and then depart after meditation. Yeah. So if anyone has a couple of questions, Anurag, you have raised your hand. You can just ask your question. I hope you can unmute yourself. Yeah,
Om
Anurag, go
Shanti.
ahead. Yeah.
Aruna Didi. Om Shanti. Assalamu alaikum. Good to see you in person after a long time. Thank you for this valuable session. Your sessions have always been very, very helpful and a lot of learning. And I'm so lucky that Baba has given us a beautiful sister, and how I have been linked to you through London and through, I don't know how many of brothers and sisters know, but I call them three musketeers. All these three sisters are doing so much seva, so much learning from all three, and I've been very lucky to meet all three of them, and I have learnings from them. So, Arunadhi, this detachment, of course, the stories and what you've just said is beautiful. It's great learning, but for a person like me who's got a 6-year-old daughter and a joint family, what do I do? What do I do on a daily basis? A very simple, easy process: how to detach from this inner circle of your materialistic things. As somebody said earlier, it's probably we can practice, but when it comes to your relations, your family, friends, loved ones, uh, how do you get that practice of detaching yourself to them? Recently, we've all, probably in India especially, a lot of us have lost our friends, family in recent past. So there's a lot of pain, a lot of sense of loss of someone you were so close to. I'm practicing, but I'm still not able to resonate the fact that it's something. I mean, as per drama, yes, I am aware that drama would probably bring in something, and some, as per the scene, if somebody has to go, they have to go. It's simple. But then somewhere down the line, inside, I dread the fact that someone close, if that happens, then how I'm gonna, that fear, and then that sense of losing, how I'm gonna face. So I want to practice that. And what is that simple, or not simple, I don't know what you call it, but how do I practice that on an everyday basis? Is that my question?
Yeah, so the knowledge of Raj Yoga is amazing, especially for this, because every day we are practicing being a soul. Now, I know you're saying you're in a family, you have children, but yes, they are also a soul, and each soul is on their journey. Now, you are there as a caretaker for your 6-year-old. So, yes, it's your duty to guide her to the best of your ability, but you cannot dictate what her life is going to turn out to be. And I always share this example of the sister here. Maybe some of you know her, Mona. So she's one of our right hands here in the Arab world. And so when her daughter was growing up, she was taking a lot of sorrow and thinking, why is she not excelling? And they come from a good home. So she felt, she will defame the name if she doesn't study, etc. And then Mona started practicing that really every soul has their part. And that is her part. And I have to let go of trying to dictate her part. And so mentally, Mona started practicing this, that let me just see her role different. I'm not her mother. I am, but I'm not. And she's got her own life. She's now mature. She's sensible. And so she's using the knowledge of the drama. She's using the knowledge of these different roles we play. And every day practicing soul consciousness, taking power from God. And then emotionally, this is the important word, emotionally, she is detached. So of course they're living together. Eventually she went to Australia, came back. She's doing great. She actually did much better at school also after her mom detached. So yeah, this is the point, that I have to practice the knowledge. There's lots of knowledge in the world, even in the Gita, but are we practicing it? So one of the important things, if you can practice, is soul consciousness. The soul is eternal. The bodies are perishable. You know, if you take a candle, if you look at a candle, the candle has wax and the candle has the wick. And when you light that wick, then the candle is burning. But the candle is not burning with the wick alone, it's burning because of the wax. So in this life, we need, this is the wax. The life is the wax. Okay? I am the wick, and then God's light lights me up, and then I'm able to burn well because now I've understood the relationship between the wick and the wax. So we have to live in this world. We have to be part of it and still shine brightly. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, I mean, it does. Everyday Murli, Sakar, or even Avyak Murli is full of that knowledge. So thank you. I get your point, and I think what you just said earlier, that do a bit of writing, do a bit of homework, do a bit of journaling, and introspect. More manan chintan is required, I think, and more purusharth is required, which I think I'm lacking.
Yeah, but also this relationship, like, don't, like, okay, for all of you now, like, just start with the small stuff. Like, detachment doesn't mean you have to go live as a hermit on a mountain. Start with the small stuff. So small stuff is even your language, your vocabulary. Like even my daughter, right? My daughter, no. she's she's a beautiful child that's bestowed to me for me to take care of. Like just start with small stuff, start to change your language. The language will start to train your mind to create this sense of detachment. Everything, like actually lately we've, as you know, I think you've been following a few of the seminars, like we've also been talking about fasting. There was the seminar on mind over matter. So when we give our thought to something, then we're exercising the muscles of the mind. So when I literally detach from a small thing, I'm exercising the muscle of detachment. So then I'll be able to detach from the bigger thing. Right? As I was saying yesterday, when you exercise your muscles in the gym, they're not only for use in the gym. You use those muscles everywhere else where you go. You exercise them in the gym so they become strong, but then you have the muscle power in your life everywhere. So in meditation, we practice this detachment, but then that detachment stays with us in all other areas of our life, so that we're not taking sorrow, so that we see the beauty, so that we see the goodness. Do you see?
So thank you, Aruna sister. Thank you. Thank you, Anurag brother. Just wanted to confirm from you, sister Aruna, that you're not committed to something else beyond. If we go a bit 10-15 minutes, is that okay? Yeah, okay, thank you. So I'll just take one more question. Rachna sister, you can just, because you've raised your hand. So Rachna sister, go ahead. Yeah.
Om Shanti sister. Thank you for this opportunity. My question to you is that in the Murlis, Baba emphasizes that this old world is a graveyard, and we should renounce everything, our body, relations, everything in this old world, and think only about Alpha and Beta, Baba, and the inheritance and the gift of paradise that he brings for us. So sometimes I feel, is it in some way a shift of attachment from what is in present to the future? It's just a shift and not actually getting detached.
Yes, you're right. But let's understand why he does that. So that I don't experience pain and sorrow. Like, it's not that God wants to cause us any distress. God doesn't want us, you know, to feel upset or to feel deprived. But he's telling us this so that we don't experience any further pain or sorrow. So yes, you're right. It's not the actual attachment itself, but it's the pain that comes with it. We haven't mastered it. We haven't mastered to be with it, whatever it is, and to not take sorrow and suffering. So the only obvious way is to detach from it. And actually, if you think about it, when we have attachment to things we love or things we like, we don't really call that attachment. We call it an interest, or we call it a hobby. But hidden within the word attachment is this sense of, yeah, I know I'm going to suffer. So it is a derogatory term. But anyway, let's not get into the semantics, just for us to understand that, yes, because the soul cannot live in a vacuum, so Baba's then providing us, like, for example, a spiritual family, right? Baba says, okay, detach from that family, but then he gives us a spiritual family. Then he says, okay, renounce your sleep. Okay, if I renounce my sleep, what do I do? Okay, then you sit in meditation. You have early morning class. So he's filling that space with something that's more elevated, more divine. And yes, for a good reason.
Okay, thank you, sister. And it pains me if I don't take one more question. Sister Vinaya, that will be your last question. And if it's Vinaya, sister, yeah.
Yeah. Om Shanti Didi. My question to you is, like, ever since I've been exposed to this knowledge, you know, there has been a lot of changes. So in case of detachment, you know, I am in a dilemma, you know, whether I did a right thing or no, you know. So I was confused because this friend, the value systems was not matching, you know. So I was in a dilemma, you know, whether to continue with the friendship or not. So my inner voice told me, walk away when the values are at compromise. So but knowing the other person as a soul or the child of God, you know, the soul power is decreased. But I think if that's breaking my sadhana, is it right that I blocked the person, and, you know, I don't want my sadhana to be broken anymore. So, but I think at the outer world, the detachment has occurred, but my mind at times goes back, you know, and again in a dilemma, did I do the right thing? So please guide me on this, Didi. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's this story of these two brothers, right? And so one of them is an alcoholic and the other one is, so let's say saint and sinner, okay? So one is a saint, always likes to spend his time in the temple, and the other one is a sinner. And anyway, the point is that they decide to reverse the roles. But as they decided to reverse the roles, what are they thinking? So even though this one is over there having a drink, he's thinking, oh, I bet my brother's having a good time in the temple. And even though that one's in the temple, he's thinking, oh, he must be having a good time having the drink. So it's not about people or places, it's all in the mind. And so, yeah, okay, fine, you detached from this person, you blocked them, you stepped away, all that is good, because even doctors teach you, right? Like step away. Psychologists teach you step away. If you're an addict, then step away till you build an immunity, till you develop that inner strength. But for these kinds of relationships issues, there's another step, I feel. And the step is that, yeah, we have to think less. We have to, our real test is really to not think about it anymore, to not think about that person. That's the real stepping away. Because otherwise, what are we doing? We're occupying that person in our mind. And what do we say? For free, right? They're not even paying rent and they're living in our mind. So we cannot allow that. You block them, but again, how much are you thinking about them? So that is in your hands. Technically, you block them, right? Kalas, whatever, block. But then thereafter, the other damage that's being caused is in your mind, and that is in your hands. So this is where really mind management is so important, learning to put a full stop. And this, again, we learn from the Raj Yoga meditation. I mean, I haven't gone into the service that we do here, but really there are a lot of Arabs who take so much benefit just from the basic teachings of Raj Yoga. And particularly something like this, which is full stop, just apply a full stop. But put a full stop, not a comma. Comma means I'm still continuing that dialogue in my head. And when do you have a comma? What is a comma? A comma is aise teda, hum kehte hain na teda. So when do you create this teda sign? When you've got nudged. When somebody nudges your hand, when you've got shaken, then there's a comma. But to put a full stop, you need, a little bit of force, you need stillness. So yeah, we need to put the full stop, not the commas. And really put a full stop, which means kalas, end of story. Don't even talk about it. It's over.
Right. Thank you so much, sister, for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you, Vinaya, sister, for the question. So before I go ahead, I would request with us, we have Dr. Ashok Mehta. I'm sure Aruna, sister, knows him very well. So Dr. Ashok Mehta to propose the vote of thanks to Sister Aruna for the beautiful session she took.
Wow, that's my honor. What to say, Dr. Mehta? So lovely to have you here. Thank you so much.
It's been a great pleasure to listen to Aruna Ben. Once I remember a few years back, she ran a program in Madhuban. It was in Jan Sarovar. It was so entertaining and interesting. And till then, I did not know much about Aruna Ben. Of course, I'd met her several times, but I didn't know her beautiful ways of communicating. I think she's a master communicator. The beautiful stories that she has told takes the message back to your heart. Thank you, Aruna Ben, for giving us an opportunity to have your experience on detachment. I think you are a wonderful person. You are detached, obviously, because you left so many beautiful things to work in a difficult area in the Middle East. But I know that what you have achieved is tremendous. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much. Thank you, Manoj Bhai, also.
Thanks.
You to
Okay, thank you so much. It's still there, a few more minutes, sorry. So Anu, sister, you wanted to do something? Yeah, so there's a request from Vancouver, and this request has come today from the Vancouver team, and you're the Vancouver person instrument from the beginning. They wanted to shuffle this time half an hour earlier. So I think, Anu, sister, if you want to show the poll, few people have left, but we are still 70 of us. So we are planning to know what is the opinion of the house on this. 30 minutes you want to...
Actually, yeah, I just have drafted one question because people from India, particularly, if 8:30 a.m. is early for you, if not, then people from West Coast Canada or USA can attend. More people can attend. East Coast Canada cannot attend still the timing. As we are having the benefit of online classes, such invaluable sessions can happen between India, America, Europe. That's just amazing. So just wanted to say this much that one question, please answer from India participants, that if we make the sessions half an hour before, that is start at 8:30 a.m. Can you see the poll?
Yes, we can see. Yeah.
Could you please reply to that if you prefer, and we can then.
Anu sister, people have started doing it, so they are doing it. Yeah. So maybe we can just give them 10 more seconds because we are short of time, and then you can close the poll.
50% have put the poll. Kindly, we request all of you to reply yes or no. Okay. Anyone else want to reply? Because it's only.
Anu sister, sorry to interrupt. 80 people are saying yes, so I think that's an unanimous yes.
That is 80%, but 50% have replied. It's all still 30.
That's majority wins. We have less time, Anu sister. Sorry for that. So majority
Yeah,
have said
okay.
It's fine.
I'll share the result. So okay, 50% people replied and 82. So we'll go ahead with earlier. Okay, thank you, Manoj Prakhar.
Sorry for that, because it's already 11:10 and people have started leaving. So I'll just share the screen and do the announcements. And in India, Hindi में हम कहते हैं हमारा दीदी आपके लिए खास, हमारा एक से पेट नहीं भरता है. So we make sure that you will be doing 2 consecutive sessions with us, and you have done a yes for that. So let me just share our announcements. Continuing this Values for Life, next episode is on economy. We are very fortunate. An avatar of economy is with us, Sister Jayanti. She's so kind enough to give one more talk. She had spoken on one before as well on humility. So it's again on 12th June. We are doing this on Saturdays now, so that more people can from the West Coast attend. And again, we are very, very fortunate. We have Aruna's sister who will be doing the talk again, and we'll be having experiential exercises, the same format, 1 hour prior. And Aruna's sister will join again on 20th June. So thank you so much, Aruna's sister, for that once again. And for any other things we would like to hear from y'all, y'all can email us on vihasaindia@gmail.com, and the website is in front of you. And all these workshops will be soon downloaded on this omshanti.tk/workshop. So if someone is missing the live session, y'all can please attend it later on the YouTube. So I'll just stop sharing and over to Aruna's sister for the meditation on detachment.
Okay, just sit comfortably. Try to not hold on to anything. Let's begin by detaching. Let us now detach from our surroundings. So I see everything around me, but yet I go beyond it. So I'd like you to imagine that, like a bird, you are flying upwards and outwards, away from your building, from your state, from your country. And just look back and see how far you are. And everything down below looks so tiny. Everything looks so irrelevant. I turn around and I fly further upwards. And as I fly beyond towards my home of light, I'm feeling lighter and lighter. I arrive at my home of light, and there in front of me is the supreme light. And all I do is just sit under this light, under the rays of this light, and I allow God's light to completely wash away any hurts, any fears, any doubts, any worries. And I allow God's light to just fill me with power. So very much like sunbathing, I'm bathing now in God's light. And there's such a lightness in the soul, feeling absolutely carefree and free. And I know that as I go back, I'm carrying God's light. So when you're ready, just do the return journey. Coming into the universe, back into the ether, back to your country, back to your room, back to your seat, and back to the center of the forehead. So just practice this every now and again, just stepping away from your drama and then coming back to the center of the forehead. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ronald. Om Shanti.